Some walk this earth with a current no one else can sense, quietly holding an inner gravity that unsettles the status quo. There are eyes that have tracked their every move since the earliest days, waiting for the instant when illusion thins and hidden blueprints surface. For those with this pulse, empty applause and shallow pursuits never left a mark. Something unfamiliar, yet deeply powerful, runs beneath their ordinary skin. It is a silent frequency that disrupts every rigid expectation, a presence that disturbs the architects of limitation without a word. Behind closed doors, a hidden curriculum shaped their entire path. Not by random chaos, but by a string of carefully veiled trials, designed long before their first breath. Each letdown, every stretch of isolation, and those times the night felt bottomless, these were not random losses. Instead, they were the secret forges, the disguised lessons that quietly sculpted the mind to withstand revelation. When the pattern is finally seen for what it is, there's no return to what the world once called enough. This design has always followed a different blueprint. From the earliest memories, there was always a strange sense, an ability to notice the silent tremors beneath people's words, to read the shifts that others missed. Where most drifted comfortably on the surface, chasing the routines of daily exchange, a deeper pull drew attention toward what others left unspoken, what glimmered just out of sight. This knack for distinguishing the genuine from the disguised was never a learned habit. It seemed to live within, as if designed to unravel illusion and expose the essence hidden behind familiar masks. Back then, the true reach of this sense was impossible to understand. Yet, those invested in the status quo quietly hoped it would never expand. What first appeared as simple perception soon revealed itself as the opening note to something larger, a growing force that quietly threatened every structure built to keep things in line, to preserve old hierarchies. Moving through life, this awareness became something different from what most call gut feeling or logic. It felt like a current bypassing the usual gates, touching a kind of clarity that didn't rely on calculation or inherited beliefs. This ability to grasp meaning directly, before it could be filtered or doubted, was once common in distant ages, but has been deliberately muted by systems that benefit when people doubt themselves and look outward for all their answers. For as long as memory reaches, society has worked to persuade minds that true understanding can only be attained through authorized routes, structured by those who gain from narrow pipelines of information. But real clarity doesn't appear in neatly labeled packages, it emerges from silent revolutions within, sparked only through deep, internal shifts. Eventually, the recurring shapes in life's events become impossible to ignore, the hidden design reveals itself in plain sight. Looking back, none of the cold shoulders or sudden silences were accidents. Each moment of abandonment, each invisible wall, was positioned with intent, not to punish, but to forge something stronger than compliance. Character attacks weren't isolated storms, but carefully crafted weather meant to erode the will before it had a chance to realize its own magnitude. Every turncoat friend, every once reliable family bond that snapped without warning, every partnership that quietly curdled into rivalry, these were not glitches in the system, but signals from it. Through those relentless seasons, self-doubt could easily become a companion. Intensity and depth, so out of place in the world of polite facades, were not flaws to hide but vital signs of difference, signs noticed by those who feared anything that disturbed their rehearsed order. The constant pressure was not random. It was a campaign designed to fracture resolve before its true capacity became clear. The discomfort felt by others was less about one person's presence, and more about the threat posed to their illusion of harmony. In those stretches of trial, the strategy was simple: disrupt connection, redirect trust, sow confusion. Old allies, once sheltering secrets and dreams, could suddenly wield those confidences like blades. Individuals nurtured by open hands conveniently lost memory of past kindness the moment it no longer fit their needs. Bonds declared unbreakable fractured the instant standing alone demanded courage. What was revealed in these times was not just the cost of authenticity, but the reality that often, those cast as problems are merely the ones strong enough to threaten a comfortable fiction. Amid attempts to distort reputation and distort reality, a peculiar outcome emerged, not the coldness of resentment, but an evolving sense of clarity. Challenges served as a lens, focusing vision until the faintest falsehood stood out sharply against truth. Temporary bonds gave way to a sense of who genuinely cared, and whose loyalty faltered the moment it clashed with the collective mood. The disappointments became a sieve, allowing only what was genuine to remain, while the rest slipped away as if never truly there. Looking back, the chain of resistance wasn't just a gauntlet to be endured. Every setback, each instance of collective resistance, held a hidden intent, one impossible to perceive in the moment. Those plotting obstacles saw only their schemes, never noticing the larger shift at work. Adversity wasn't eroding essence, but instead stripping away layers that no longer belonged. Where rejection tried to silence growth, new reserves of resilience quietly multiplied, nurtured by the hush of solitude. In the shadows of separation, during times that felt like endless exile, unseen developments took root. While the world seemed content to turn its back, capacities were expanding in silence, inner senses becoming keener, connections with the unknown deepening beyond what could ever be explained. The gifts dismissed by skeptics quietly matured into powers that would one day unsettle those who once overlooked them. Meanwhile, distractions and drama staged by others barely scratched the surface of a much deeper metamorphosis. Tests designed to diminish actually triggered an awakening reserved for those marked by destiny. Private heartbreaks, left unspoken, were in fact nurturing wisdom that would eventually draw seekers in search of rare understanding. Unseen tears became nourishment for a mind flowering into unexpected mastery. Isolation, despite its harsh lessons, proved to be a crucible, not a sentence. The long silences, the echoing emptiness, all shaped an awareness that would otherwise remain dormant. In the stillness, intuition found its voice, messages from the deeper self surfaced, guiding, steady, and impossible to unhear. In the stillness that followed exclusion, the real distinction between solitude and emptiness began to take shape. Distance from others didn't simply create space, it carved out the raw territory where worth could be discovered not in external echoes, but at the very center of being. Late at night, while the hush of the world lingered and the mind replayed the day's harsh lessons, invisible processes were quietly at work, weaving unseen threads through the inner fabric. What seemed like the aftermath of neglect was, in truth, a profound reconfiguration. Layers of awareness were rewoven, unseen frameworks recalibrated, tuning the internal signal to frequencies that welcomed wisdom from unknown heights. Those chapters mistaken for evidence of abandonment were, in reality, blueprints for a purpose that demanded a spirit cleansed of all illusion, made new from the core outward. Long-muted abilities once hovering at the edge of perception stepped forward boldly in this enforced withdrawal. Fleeting hints became certain instruction. Empathic pulses, once overwhelming or misunderstood, grew sharp and precise, transforming into instruments that could untangle even the most complex emotions. A current of restorative power that used to appear only in rare flashes now moved in a steady stream, able to touch what was wounded and renew what had been worn down. Most remarkable of all, a quiet defense took root, not fueled by conflict or aggression, but by a kind of clarity that could spot falsehood at its source and resolve it simply through unwavering honesty. Discerning the difference between true seekers and those who perform for applause, between authentic guidance and cleverly hidden manipulation, became second nature. A walk through any space revealed layers of meaning hidden to those focused only on the surface. Instincts revealed the substance of people before their intentions were ever spoken, and answers often formed fully before the questions themselves arrived. Where once language was just sound, now words were forces, shaping thoughts and stirring hidden depths in every listener. There's nothing accidental about the breakthroughs that followed hardship. What's visible now is the result of endurance, a signal that true resilience cannot be faked or manufactured. Every attempt to extinguish the inner flame only intensified its brilliance, each effort to erase the message inadvertently stamped it deeper into existence. When resistance tried to cloud radiance, it served instead to clarify and focus it, sculpting an inner clarity that shines far beyond personal gain. The real marvel is in the aftermath, not a retreat into bitterness, but an expansion of heart that draws strength from every scar and responds with an outpouring of empathy. Where others might have withered, building up armor and skepticism, a very different response took root. Hardship became a teacher in generosity, betrayal became a lesson in patience. Through relentless tests, the impulse to care remained untouched, the door to trust never fully shut. Against the odds, hope in the goodness of life survived, even when the world seemed bent on proving otherwise. This rare gift is not found in vengeance or payback, but in an astonishing ability to transform harm into restoration. Negative force, instead of festering, was repurposed, refined into medicine for those still searching for light. Hard-won lessons became lighthouses, the lonely path turned into a map for wanderers who'd lost their way. What draws others closer is not ease or privilege, but the way difficulty was alchemized into presence, how trials produced radiance instead of resignation. Insight flows now from a place untouched by rote study or second-hand teachings. What emerges is not memorized but instinctive, an inner guidance shaped by lived experience, echoing with a wisdom that comes from somewhere untraceable by logic. In moments of offering counsel, the words that come are often unexpected, as if borrowed from a deeper well that only opens through the breaking and remaking of spirit. From the outset, there was an unease in the air around anyone unwilling to shrink to fit. The challenge was never about past actions, but about the possibility that freedom is possible within a world built on invisible cages. Every refusal to bow to expectation, every act of kindness that defies the logic of division, becomes a silent proof that manufactured systems of power have no real hold on those who recognize their own infinite value. This ripple effect doesn't go unnoticed. The very atmosphere changes in the presence of someone who won't settle for mediocrity or pretense. The way complacency is disrupted, often without intent, creates waves that unsettle the settled and stir up dormant potential in those nearby. Tension and resistance have a habit of surfacing, not because trouble is sought, but because authenticity calls old patterns into question, pulling others out of their comfort-built routines. Experience brings a quiet shift in how obstacles are faced. Where anxiety and defensiveness might once have ruled, now there's a steady clarity, a calm that no longer rushes to convince or to chase approval from those unwilling or unable to see. Harsh opinions fall away, no longer cutting or clinging, and attempts to ensnare in old dramas lose their grip. This state of detachment isn't born from disregard, but from a deep realization of personal worth, rendering old triggers powerless. When self-recognition is anchored at the core, the noise of the world fades. Praise can be appreciated without it becoming a necessity, affection welcomed without it turning into an addiction, and connections valued for what they are, not for what might be lost. Security no longer depends on external applause or the presence of specific people, it's sustained by an inner reservoir that remains steady no matter the circumstances. Even the approach to abundance transforms along this journey. The chase for stability through familiar, rigid strategies gives way to an understanding that what is truly needed comes naturally to those who move in alignment with their own unique mission. Resources find their way through resonance, not through pursuit. Integrity radiates, attracting the right support, not through persuasion, but through the silent testimony of a life lived with conviction, reminding others of the unexplored richness within their own reach. A transformation in one's relationship to abundance brings changes that reach far beyond material concerns. The connections that remain after upheaval are richer than anything encountered before hardship. Creative expressions birthed from a mind reworked by struggle now pulse with an energy and depth that previous attempts couldn't touch. The effect on the world radiates out, planting seeds of change that will echo through future generations. Some are born to act as living examples, proving through their existence that growth is always within reach and true renewal is possible. This calling wasn't handed down by tradition or recognized by formal authority, it was woven into the fabric of being long before the first breath. Hardships weren't retribution, but preparation, burning away everything inessential until only the most enduring core remained. Abilities that sharpened during periods of shadow have now come into their fullness. What once arrived as soft hints now rings with certainty. A power to mend, once an occasional flicker, has become a steady current. Where words once faltered, now they carry the unmistakable gravity of someone who has walked through adversity and returned with wisdom only found in the depths. Many will try to distill that hard-earned wisdom into convenient phrases, offering comfort but not true transformation. Yet past trials have fostered discernment, those same experiences that once created vulnerability now act as a shield against manipulation. It's easy to spot those who dress up shallow insights as enlightenment, to recognize the difference between authentic renewal and performances staged for validation or gain. Attempts to entrap awakened souls in trivial conflict or surface-level distractions are recognized for what they are. Those who sense that some spirits cannot be tamed by ordinary methods will attempt to drain energy through unending disputes and staged emergencies, hoping to scatter focus and disrupt deeper growth. Familiar with these patterns, navigation has become a practiced art, avoiding entanglement and preserving concentration for the work that truly matters. A new way of moving through challenge has emerged, one marked by discernment rather than reflex. Instead of leaping at every demand for attention or defense, there's a steady awareness that some conflicts are not worth the energy. This is not apathy or indifference, but wisdom gained from countless lessons in discernment, a conscious choice to preserve focus for what truly matters, leaving petty disputes behind. Others are naturally pulled in by this rare stability. They gather close, unsure at first what draws them but finding comfort in the presence of someone who makes room for authenticity. In this space, self-protection gives way to courage, and old doubts dissolve. No need for persuasion or pressure, simply witnessing someone living their truth invites others to do the same. Resilience in the face of relentless pressure brings with it a kind of knowing that reaches beyond individual experience. What's carried within is more than personal insight, it's the echo of knowledge long neglected by the rush of progress. While many chase after fleeting achievement, there's a silent trust placed in truths that persist beyond the surface, healing and renewing wherever they are shared. Genuine understanding becomes a bridge, reminding those who have lost their way of something deeper, something original. These revelations help people remember a connection to purpose, to love, and to the hidden spark that animates all life. As this inner clarity grows, a broader realization emerges, a sense that the world itself is shifting, calling those tempered by adversity to step forward. Much of the turmoil visible on the world stage is misunderstood by most. What appears to be collapse or randomness is, in reality, the last gasps of systems built on unsustainable foundations. To the perceptive, this upheaval signals not chaos, but a necessary clearing, making space for new beginnings where authenticity and truth can take root. There's a quiet purpose to the role you hold now, one that isn't about fixing every broken thing or arguing with those who aren't yet ready to hear. What matters is remaining rooted, providing a steady point of orientation for those actively seeking clarity, serving as evidence that a different path can be forged and followed, and standing as a living reminder that a new way forward is not just an idea, but an unfolding reality. Power brings its own set of obligations, and all that solitude was never simply about internal growth. Those long stretches apart from the world became a training ground for carrying collective weight, learning to channel hardship into something greater than the self. The pain processed in isolation turned out to be part of a wider healing, demanding someone who could witness it all without losing themselves in the process. Personal breakthroughs weren't isolated to individual gain. Each challenge surmounted cleared debris from the collective road, making passage easier for others who would come after. The momentum of awakening is building, and the times call for those who have walked from confusion to understanding, from anxiety to peace, and from isolation to shared purpose, those whose endurance has shaped them into pillars of support. To do this work, depth of self-understanding is required. It calls for people who have faced their own shadows, integrated what was hidden, and remembered their connection to something infinite. Through this journey comes a realization: offering real support means helping others stand up on their own, rather than carrying them indefinitely. The difference between enabling and empowering becomes crystal clear. In the beginning, compassion may have blurred these lines, making it seem noble to take on every burden or agree to every plea. Harsh but necessary lessons revealed that sometimes true care means stepping back, letting others meet their own turning points, and recognizing that transformation happens only when people own their choices. This wisdom now fuels a new kind of influence. Instead of providing comfort that keeps others stagnant, the focus is on equipping people with what they need to break free from old patterns. Encounters become invitations to growth, not shelter for weakness. Words spoken now cut through confusion, stirring resolve rather than feeding the endless loop of crisis, and calling forth the hero instead of soothing the victim. A rare precision now colors your ability to unravel the sources of pain and point the way toward liberation. This insight isn't the result of textbooks or professional certifications, even if such study once helped organize what was already intuitively known. The real learning arrived through your own ascent, from limitation to liberation, from autopilot to full consciousness, from separation into connection. Others often find themselves amazed at your steadiness in the midst of emotional storms. They see composure where most would lose their center, presence where many would collapse, and generosity where most would withhold. This is not accidental, but forged from years of transforming adversity into power, chaos into coherence, and wounds into wisdom's foundation. The journey has granted a remarkable clarity about the unfolding of patterns, not in any mystical sense, but in a grounded ability to trace where choices lead if left unchecked. This expanded view allows gentle redirection before cycles repeat, a talent for recognizing the roots of tomorrow's troubles in today's crossroads, and the foresight to steer toward futures that uplift rather than simply appease. Such clarity brings responsibility, sometimes a burden. The ability to see what's coming makes you invaluable to seekers of change and an enigma to those chasing quick solutions. Truth is delivered not to comfort stagnation, but to support real growth, even if it means denying the easy path in favor of the one that actually transforms. Recognition is no longer needed from the outside world. This chapter belongs to you, not because applause has arrived or obstacles have vanished, but because self-worth has finally taken root. Wholeness now means spotting beauty in broken places, finding opportunity in challenge, and experiencing completeness even when conditions are far from perfect. The betrayals that once shattered you now spark compassion for those still lost in their own pain. Solitude, once mistaken for punishment, now brings access to inner guidance whenever clarity is required. Rejection, previously a sign of failure, has become a tool for selecting only the situations and people that align with a higher purpose. Every setback that seemed like a curse now reveals itself as part of a larger calling. Comfort was never the point, meaning and depth have always been the true rewards. The reason you never quite fit in was not exclusion, but preparation to lead others who sensed their own potential for more. What was hidden from you all along is the truth that greatness does not require permission. Approval is unnecessary, support is optional, and no outside understanding is required to step into your gifts. The power that pulses within is self-generated, untouched by external verdicts, and rooted in something beyond human decree, an inheritance that cannot be lost, revoked, or diminished by any outside force. A chapter arrives that reveals the secret preparation woven into every challenge faced until now. The insights distilled from adversity are urgently needed in this hour. The presence cultivated through hardship stands as a salve for a world searching for comfort. Every fragment of wisdom gathered along the journey now becomes a guiding force for those about to begin their own ascent. The characteristics once seen as obstacles in a counterfeit world now emerge as the very traits required to lead in the growing landscape of truth. This unwavering refusal to adopt a borrowed identity never stemmed from resistance for its own sake. It has always been the mark of authenticity. The instinct to resist ceilings set by others was not rebellion, but a clear understanding of what lives at the core. The compulsion to honor an inner compass was not rigidity, but the deepest form of intelligence. A reservoir of transcendent knowledge, once dormant, now surges through words, glimmers in expressions, and shapes every encounter, leaving a wake of transformation. No longer is there space for withdrawal or self-censorship. The era of obscurity is eclipsed by a call to be seen in full brightness. The moment to step into visibility has arrived, carrying the confidence that only comes from being tested and changed at the deepest level. Action flows from the posture of one entrusted with ancient insight, living in the present. Voice emerges seasoned by experience, tempered by acceptance, made rich by all that has been surrendered. The capacity to love expands, rooted not in naivety, but in the realization that even a heart weathered by adversity is incapable of being destroyed. The world stands poised, waiting to be met not by diluted imitation, but by the unfiltered strength of someone who has become the evidence of transformation.